evening, everyone. Welcome to the March 9th Lebanon Board of Works meeting. Our first order of business will be the Pledge of Allegiance. Board Member Milburn, will you lead us, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I will move on to the roll call members. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Thank you. Mayor Gentry.
Present.
Rebecca McClure. Present. Bill Stoner.
Present.
Dick Robertson.
Present.
Alan Milburn.
Present.
Okay, next up for the approval of the minutes from our previous meeting. Are there any edits to the minutes? Okay, we entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I make a motion we approve the minutes.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. That was Bill and Alan. Okay, those minutes are approved. Move on, or sorry, all in favor of approval of the minutes? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Those opposed? Minutes are approved. All right, now we'll move on to department head reports. First up is Police Department. Chief Morgan.
Good evening. Since our last meeting, the Lebanon Police Department responded to 646 calls for service. A total of 30 people were arrested for the following crimes: 3 for driving while suspended, 1 operating while intoxicated, 3 for possession of marijuana, 7 for possession of meth, 3 for possession of a controlled substance, 2 for possession of a narcotic, 9 wanted on warrants, 1 theft of a firearm, 1 auto theft. In that same time frame, 6 handgun carry permits were sent off to the state for final approval. February 24th to 26th, Officer Tyrese Griffin and Jamie Newland attended the FTO training course, field training officer course. They're both certified now and can start training our brand new officers as soon as they get out of the academy. February 25th, we had department-wide defensive tactics training where we went over handcuffing and proper pat-down procedures. On the 28th, LPD officers taught the Run, Hide, Fight course to the Boone County Chamber of Commerce. The 27th through the 29th, Major Bales and Sergeant Fuston attended the International Association Chiefs of Police Officer Safety and Wellness Symposium. Over the course of the 3 days, they attended several different trainings and meetings on wellness programs and how to implement them into the public. The conference covered all aspects of wellness, including mental health, physical health, financial wellness, and suicide prevention in the public safety. March 3rd, the LPD drone team did some nighttime training where they concentrated on the FLIR camera and using it. March 9th, today, LPD did firearms training where they were working on the patrol carbines and transitioning from those to the handguns. And the last thing I have is I want to do a reminder to the public. There are still seats available for the upcoming basic chaplains course being put on by the International Federation of Chaplains. This course is being hosted by LPD, and it'll be from March 16th to the 20th. This course is for anyone who would want to serve in that capacity. You don't have to be already in the clergy and ordained into the clergy. So it's for anybody who would want to fill that spot for whatever need they need. And you can contact the Lebanon Police Department at 482-8836 if you're interested.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Any questions for Chief Morgan?
No.
Any questions for the public? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next up, Fire Department, Chief Batts.
Good evening, everyone. Since the last Board of Works meeting, Lebanon Fire has made 124 emergency calls of service, logged 486 training hours, performed 49 commercial inspections, and we've installed 4 car seats. Starting today's date, March 9th through the 13th, firefighters Sam Doherty and Zach Ruark are attending Fire Officer Strategy and Tactics. FOST is a base or entry-level management certification for our firefighters that are wanting to move up into the ride-out officer's position or lieutenant. So they're going to talk about basic management, fire flow formulas, and strategy and tactics. So very happy with Zach and Sam. They're doing a great job for us. On March 7th, Lieutenants Matt Young and Jason Hendricks attended a one-day class for decisions under pressure regarding residential search and fire suppression. This week, Lieutenants Jason Adams, Matt Young, along with firefighters Chad Hale and Jacob Fussell, are attending classes to become a certified Boone County peer support counselor. This is exclusively for the fire service of Boone County. If we would have a firefighter be involved in a traumatic event and would need some assistance, we would have one of our peer support counselors meet with them. It's a great program. We're working with Zionsville and the Whitestone Fire Departments on this initiative. This week, Deputy Chief Mike Baird is spending the week at the Zionsville Fire Department. Zionsville is hosting the Indiana Fire Inspectors Conference, so he will be there learning new procedures, updating codes. It's a great event, and we're very happy that Chief Baird's attending. Last week, over 100 firefighters were trained right here in Boone County, just outside of the city of Lebanon. We acquired a log home from the James Daniels family, and this home was used for live fire training, search and rescue, hose line advancement, rural water supply. The Center Township Fire Department participated along with Zionsville and Whitestown. It was a great event bringing all the departments together, and we would really like to thank the Daniels family for their generosity. And that's all I have for this evening.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions from the board?
No.
Anything from the public? Okay. Next up, Parks Department, John Messenger.
Good evening. Our 2020 Daddy-Daughter Dance will be held in about 2 Saturdays from now, on March 21st from 6 to 9. Tickets still on sale at the park office. Had a flood of people in so far, so get your tickets. The floors in the bathhouse have been repaired and refinished. Walls been painted. Partitions will be installed in the next 2 weeks, along with the inside updates. We're also removing the outside rotted old facade and replacing it with fiberboard so it'll last a lot longer. I don't think it's been replaced since 1980, so it's needing some work. Doing a good job on that. Finishing up some work on the baseball field and prepping the grounds for the upcoming season. The Tigers will be on the field next week, so we have quite a few new additions for them that we worked pretty hard on getting prepared for their season. Hopefully they'll have a great season. Had the original contractor come out from New York to assess the wave pool. They're the ones that did the initial installation on the hundreds of thousands of dollars in the pump house, and it was really good. They found a motor bearing that had gone out or was going out, so it was really good to get ahead of that. And also just upgrade all the guys on how the facility works and everything. Even though we have an idea of how to do it, we've done it for 7 years, but it's good to get all these guys educated. So that was really nice to have them in. It was well worth the money spent to get them out here. They also gave us a couple of suggestions on some purchases that we'll be making so we can't have any downtime. Some of these motors, since they're specialty order motors, will be 8 weeks just to get in here, let alone this virus that's going on that could keep it all summer, and we can't be down for that long. So just we're doing our due diligence in that and keeping the pool going. With the great weather we're experiencing right now, we're getting ready, getting all the beds ready, not only in the park but downtown, cleaned up, prepping the beds with pre-emergents. Also all our sports fields, getting all the pre-emergents and those ready to go. Actually had the mower out today on the baseball field, so that was pretty cool. Enjoyed that. Next couple of weeks we'll be working with on some of the drainage. You probably see a lot of flags out at Memorial Park. That's something that we wanted to do for a long time, finally getting some of that work done. We have a lot of water, obviously, and it's a nice time to get this drainage done. Weather permitting, we should have that project done in the next couple of weeks also. Excuse me. Along with a few other projects that we're working on. Finally getting pickleball. I'm sure Dick, the mayor, enjoy that. Those will be going in soon. Talked to the guy last week. Next couple of weeks, you'll see work begin on both the Memorial Park and Abner Longley Park. We're installing quite a few pickleball courts on both of them, and I think they're going to be packed from what I hear from what you guys tell me, so looking forward to that. Also, we had some adult exercise equipment that was given to us some time ago, and there again, we'll be installing those in the next few weeks. Now that the weather's broke, we're all getting out, and it's nice to get outside. Also started a lighting project for Memorial Park. We've had a couple meetings with that, getting the scope of the work and getting started with that. So looking forward to those. We got quite a busy spring. Looking forward to it. And that's all I had.
Great, thank you, John. Any questions from the board? Anything from the public? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next up, Engineering Department, Kim Krulik.
Good evening, board members. Thanks again for your time this evening. Engineering report for March 9th. Well, spring seems to be here, and hopefully now that we're out of sectional basketball season, we won't have any more snow, but Mr. Messenger reminded me that it snowed on Easter last year, so we'll see. But trying to get back into the swing of things with construction seasons quickly approaching. Looking at downtown, contractors have been there for the last couple of weeks, wrapping up the tree lawn fencing on the north side of the square. Hopefully they'll be putting the finishing touches on that this week. The lights, the street lights that we ordered for the 2 street lights for Meridian Street south of Main and 2 street lights on State Road 39 are in, and we're working with Lebanon Utilities to get those installed. So hopefully those will be up here in the next, I'd say give us the next 2 weeks. We can get those installed, provided there's no major storm events or anything that will take, our linemen off of those duties for more pressing matters. But we're nearing the end there. I also have got word from our concrete contractors who are beginning to show back up on site. We're expected to be on site at the Heflin Building on Meridian Street, south of Main, come Monday to begin that demolition work and getting ready to pour that last piece of sidewalk back. They'll also be doing some drainage and curb replacements. There's really punch list work at the same time while they're here. And then we are still scheduled to resurface Meridian Street from Main to and including the intersection of 32 as soon as those asphalt surface plants open, which will probably be sometime around the first week of May. So we'll look for more updates there, but we're putting the final touches on things as we speak. Indianapolis Avenue also did get word that concrete work is scheduled to start back up on Monday. This will be some miscellaneous curb work, miscellaneous concrete and driveway work, so that will begin next week, along with sanitary manhole adjustments, getting some sanitary manholes adjusted to accommodate that work. More schedules and updates will follow, but everything right now, of course, is just weather pending and weather permitting. But right now, it looks like we've got good weather in the 50s for the next 2 weeks, and we're going to begin to get things scheduled. On that note, we're also working on our pavement resurfacing programs, our community crossing projects for this year. I brought some maps. We've published these on social media, but thought I might just give everyone an update so those viewing at home can also see these things. This is phase 1. So right now what we're really working on is some of those ADA ramps, those sidewalk ramps. We're primarily working in this Ulen North neighborhood area right now. Those demolition programs started today. They'll be pouring those sidewalk ramps back this week. And then again, the surfacing programs will come in as the asphalt plants begin to open. After we finish up this phase, this would be the next area of town that we'll hit. And you'll see that we've got areas of town all over the place this year. So we're doing some areas of Grant Street, south of Main Street, or Washington Street, excuse me, as well as north of Fordyce. There's a gap there in Grant Street for the Grant Street reconstruction program that is scheduled for 2023. Then also some areas there on Stoltz, Chicago, Ash Street, and West Elm. That's phase 2. Looking to the third phase, this is just the southern part of the city. We're resurfacing the south end of Indianapolis Avenue, south of phase 1 of the Indianapolis Avenue reconstruction project, down to 100 South. Then we jump over here to the west side, where we're working in the Hoosier Estates area, working on Sam Ralston. There's a section of Hoy Avenue, and then there's also areas of Powell and Lafayette Avenue that will be resurfaced. And then last, but certainly not least, there's also a section of Witt Road south of Austin Drive that will go in this year. So a lot of work going on. That's kind of the order of the phasing. Of course, right now, it's too cold and plants aren't really open to allow for the pavement resurfacing, but you will start seeing the concrete removal and replacement on those sidewalk ramps and getting those up to speed. Keep in mind that the contractor does have till the end of the year, but they've assured us that they aren't waiting till the end of the year. They're going to jump on this as soon as the asphalt plant's open. That's why they're out ahead of things right now, getting those ramps replaced. We insist that the ramps be replaced so they can surface up to the new ramps and not have to cut into their new surface. Other things that are going on around the city, sidewalk replacement programs. Happy to report we've already got 4 people in the queue for submittals for the cost-sharing program for this year. So remind everyone, we had more requests last year than we had funds. We actually had some additional funds even appropriated, but it was a really popular program last year, and we would anticipate a similar success this year, but I would remind everyone to get their applications in early and often if they want to participate, not often, but get their applications in early if they want to participate in that program. We're also working with some of our larger sidewalk programs around the city, Lafayette Avenue, Witt Road, Riley Road. We're working on those areas right now for right-of-way acquisition. So more to come there. Let's see, on that note, other projects, Grant Street, we did hold our public information meeting on February 27th. Good turnout, generally a positive crowd. We thank everyone that was able to attend that, but generally that was a good meeting, as I said, and we didn't really hear any criticisms of what we are proposing there. Later tonight, we'll be talking about a storm sewer outlet for that project on William Street. Because of some of the issues with our friends at the county and the bridge there, we're going to go ahead and do that stormwater outlet ourselves and do that ahead of their scheduled bridge replacement. That means we will be breaking off that piece of storm sewer and doing that this week, or excuse me, this construction season, later this summer. Keeping in mind that the next summer, the county will be replacing Bridge 311, the William Street Bridge, and then the summer of 2023, we will be doing the full reconstruction of Grant Street. Excuse me. On that note, Fordyce Street, in that area, we're also working to refine our scope there, but in the meantime, we are doing all the survey work, collecting topography from East Street all the way out to John Bart Road, to begin that design phase of the contract as soon as that is complete. Some quick updates on the Lebanon Bike Park. Unfortunately, we just got news today that the coronavirus has struck our our Professional Trail Builders Conference, which we were scheduled to attend next week. They have, I guess they call it a postponement. They postponed the conference till next spring. So a full year of postponement. So we'll look to participate on that when it comes around in the calendar a year from now. But Ben and Derek, myself, are planning on attending that, and obviously we will not be in attendance, and we will be here in the office next week. But also happy to report probably the biggest news so far on the bike park is we have park donations are now pending donations, are now totaling over $250,000. So these are corporate sponsorships, corporate donations. Again, I can't mention any names. These things are all pending, but we're approaching $260,000 with those donations. So we've had a lot of good turnout and potential corporate partners that have stepped forward on that project. Later tonight, we will be requesting the City Council approve funding for the full release of the construction document design. That will be the next logical step for us to keep that project moving forward. Regional Detention had a good kickoff meeting last week with Christopher Burke on developing strategies for expansion of our first pond as well as land acquisition strategies for ponds 2 and 3. So I'll look to give you more updates in the coming weeks, but we did just kick that meeting off. Lebanon utility standards, Lebanon standard construction details. We do have that on your agenda later tonight as well. We have one update. You approved that at your last meeting, but we took this to City Council 2 weeks ago, and there were some comments there that we've addressed, so we have some minor revisions to our street standards, our street cross-sections that we'll want you to approve so that we can ratify those changes and get this back to council for the second reading and adoption. Sunbrook Villas, sanitary sewer construction continues on the Villas site. The road closure of 250 North has been delayed just due to the wet weather lately. They are now scheduled to look at that closure on the 12th of this week, having it closed on the 13th, and then opening back up on the morning of the 14th. So detour signs have been updated, public safety, school transportation has all been notified, but please bear with us as we do that utility crossing. Also happy to report Sunbrook Section 2, that has been filed and will go to TAC in approximately 2 weeks. So that is also moving forward. Gateway Marketplace, we've delivered our contract to NDOT with our legal review comments on that for the maintenance and operations of the stoplight at Ping Drive and State Road 32, so we're waiting to hear back on that. No further updates or commitments from the developer on that end. But on that note, I am happy to report that Culver's is open. Thank everyone for going out and supporting them, and happy to see them open, and wish them all the success in the world. Last but certainly not least is our road impact fee study. Just keep in mind there that we'll have a pending additional appropriation that will fund the remaining analysis of that project. And if you are interested in serving on the advisory committee that will be needed to approve that fee ordinance, please let me know. Happy to have you serve on that capacity. That's all I have.
Thank you, Kevin. Any questions for Kevin? Dick?
Any news on the Big Four Trail?
No news.
No news.
No.
Still good news then?
Yeah, I guess no news is, well, it's not bad news at this point, but no announcements, no proposed dates for pending announcements. But I think I mentioned this last time, we still got good constructive criticism. We've still gotten questions from them, clarifications. I assume it means we're still in the running, or we wouldn't be getting those questions sent to us from the approval committees, I assume.
Good.
So.
Okay.
Anything else from the board?
No.
Anything from the public? Okay, thank you, sir. Next up, Planning Department, Ben Bontrager.
Good evening, board members. For the planning department, in the last couple of weeks, while we're still in a little bit of a winter slowdown, activity still remains strong. We did another 37 building inspections, so about 4 a day over the last couple of weeks, and 16 permits were issued, and that does include another new single-family home. Riley Ridge continues to pull permits about 1 or 2 a week and throughout the winter, so that's really good. And we expect to start seeing permits pick up in Sunbrook once the weather gets a little bit better and they've got their model homes ready to go for people to look at. So we will see their activity pick up here in the next month or two. So really strong on the building side. On code enforcement, again, we continue to remain active there. A lot of the usual suspects there, a lot of trash and debris complaints we're following up on. And Makeda goes out about once every couple of weeks with the police department. Thanks again for that relationship with the police department to tag junk vehicles. So you can see those numbers go up about every 2 weeks. Once every 2 weeks, there's a lot more follow-ups that we're doing on junk vehicles. So that continues to remain very strong, and we'll see that those numbers will also get much more significant once we get our assistant planner position filled here in another month or two. In terms of those new positions, we are still collecting resumes for both the assistant planner and the building inspector positions, and probably will do so for the next month or so. But we will be starting interviews for anybody who's already submitted a resume probably in the next couple of weeks. And then the intention is to hopefully have those positions both filled by the end of April when we really start getting a busy season this summer. So that's an update there. Again, if anybody is interested in those positions, both of the job descriptions are posted on the City of Lebanon website. So please feel free to go there to find out information on how to apply. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Ben. Anything from the board? From the public? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next up, Street and Stormwater Department, Dave Newell.
How's it going, everybody? Let's see, the crew, we did attend a truck show last week. The guys went on Tuesday or Wednesday, and then we had 3 more people go on Thursday because they had a training class for LTAP that we attended. We attended one of those today at Purdue Road School, which doesn't really start tomorrow, but we had a class we could attend. We have had the hot box out rolling, so some of the streets we're patching, our ones we're going to pave, but we're just trying to keep them going until we get to that point, so no biggie. Had a few sign repairs since our last meeting. Most of those were just run over signs. One of them was uptown. I do apologize. We got a couple signs backwards uptown. We're human, you know. They fixed it the next morning, but we couldn't quite beat social media out, but we didn't notice it till right after we left. But anyway, we got her fixed up. Been out cleaning catch basins as well, trying to stay ahead of, the storms, and it's pretty dirty out. Once we know for sure winter's over, or get our sweeper back out, get that rolling. Once we don't want to de-winterize it, and then winter hit us, we want to make sure it's done with before we jump the gun. Did have the guys out, cleaned up some trash in our easements. Cox Avenue is always real bad by the truck stop, and just there where we mow, we collected 10 yards of trash. If that gives you an idea how much we've cleaned up in 2-day span. So it's a lot out there. Didn't find any money. Usually the guys find money. They were kind of disappointed. Kevin touched on the Grady Brothers subs doing the ADA ramps. I think they started today, so I won't tell you that again. We will be attending road school this week, like I said, and we just had 40 calls since our last meeting, and that's about all I got.
Yeah. Thank you, Dave. Any questions for Dave?
No. Dave, I thought you'd tell us somebody turned that sign around for you.
No, those you can't spin around.
I know that.
No, that was, I mean, our guy was handing them up, and they just put them up.
Yeah, I know.
It's
Been there,
funny,
done that.
it was funny, but it wasn't funny, I guess,
Been
at
there,
the same
done that.
time.
I know.
I'm sure you guys haven't.
Appreciate you guys taking care of that.
Yeah.
So, anything else from the board? No. Anything from the public? Okay. Thanks, sir. And last but not least, Communications, Community Development, Joel Page.
Good evening, everyone. Just this afternoon, got notification that our letter of intent to establish an arts and cultural district in the city of Lebanon was approved, and we'll be moving forward here in the not-too-distant future. We have submitted as that potential cultural district the greater downtown area, but also our 3 gateways as well. And so being able to kind of pave the way for us to add some beautification, some art, and also more incentives to those gateways in the greater downtown area to kind of bring the color and the various arts within our community. And so the tour of the potential district is planned, and I'll fill you in once we get more details on that. Speaking of grants and submissions, the Lebanon Youth Council, with the help of the City of Lebanon and the Boone EDC and Amy Hammerly, successfully submitted a QUIP grant for the mural, potential mural, on the south side of the square on Main Street. They're familiar with the catenary lights that hang there in the alley, adding a beautiful mural there, working with a local artist for that. So that paperwork has been submitted, and so further details will be released at a future date as well. Kind of staying on that artistic theme, we continue working with NDOT and CSX for potential murals within our community. All paperwork has been filed. Questions have been answered from the city side. Regarding NDOT, we're waiting on that final approval. We're working with the firm that will be doing the mural. And so the cleaning of the surface, the maintaining of the surface are the 2 kind of sticking points right now. Don't anticipate, knock on wood, any issues there. With CSX, we're in the negotiation/clarification phase. We got tentative approval for 5 overpasses within the Lebanon community where CSX goes over the roadways, but there was a cost associated with the potential of stopping rail service, which is not something that our artists will even be close to. And so working with legal counsel and also the CSX folks to kind of clarify that number, and if it needs to even be in existence for us to paint those overpasses. So keep you updated on that as well. Further updates ahead, but not anticipating any further obstacles for bringing some beautification, some artwork, and some community pride to Lebanon. So looking forward to that. The Lebanon podcast, episode number 28, is now available on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play. We talked to Reliable Taxi with Jeff Aldridge, had some funny stories to tell, kind of a fun fact. He claims to be taking calls 24/7, 365, and as we were recording the podcast, someone called needing his taxi service, and so we kept the machines running, and so kind of incorporated that along with the podcast, proving that, yes, 24/7, 365, even when he's doing an interview, he'll record. That business began in November of 2019, been very busy from the start, already has grown with more growth ahead, collaborating with BATS, with our Lebanon Business Park, and so he talks about kind of the future growth for public transit in Lebanon and the greater Boone County area, and so some good topics there, some fun ones, but also quite functional ones as well. Also, Boone County Summerfest is coming up on June 7th, noon to 10 p.m., We have some bands, 6 bands on 2 different stages, the Do Groove Smash, 45 RPM, the Tim Newman Band, the Naughty Yachties, and Dave and Ray. Free to attend, fun for all ages, great food and beverages will be available as well. And finally, we went ahead and enlisted our artists for an 8th City of Lebanon statue, and that one is named Abner, and it will be going near the splash pad at Amber Longley Park. We took a look at some things and wanted to be able to incorporate an 8th tiger statue, and so reached out to an artist. She got with our folks at the Parks Department, and so Abner can be seen downstairs right now. Talked with the guys from Gilman Lawn Care today, and we're going to be taking those one by one over to get not only coated but placed on their cement bases. We'll have that plaque, be able to put on those as well, and then they'll be distributed within the community, and be slowly revealing all 20 of those within the Lebanon community in the near future. So a lot of artistic stuff, a lot of artwork, a lot of color.
Great, thanks, Joe. Any questions from the board?
Have you, and I'm sure you probably talked about it, but I think that wall there on Dance Academy, there at 39 Lebanon Street and Washington Street would be a great place for a mural on that wall, right there.
The Talent Factory?
Yeah, if they'd be willing to let us do something on that wall, I think that'd be a great place to have something right there.
It's one of those things that I completely agree, and we had talked about that in the past, and I know they were recipients of a facade grant, the owner, so in talking with them, the potential of that. But then it's one of those things that once you kind of start planning one mural, you kind of see where you could put more. And so even on the south side of Meridian Street, right there next to Mr. Morog's building, there's a great blank canvas there that has been tagged already.
All the other different communities, I go into the smaller communities, when I see them, they're on the street where you can be seen, and a few of them you'll see in the alleys like that, that's a walking alley, and I think that's a great spot, but a lot of them are out somewhere where you can see them as you're driving through town, so I just think we can find something that'd be great.
Yeah, I agree.
Any other questions from the board? No. Anything from the public? Okay, thank you, sir. All right, that concludes department head reports. Move on to old business. First item up is the adoption of Lebanon standards, revised. Kevin Quillick?
Yeah,
Kevin, if you could explain the changes we made.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so you approved this 2 meetings ago, and then it went to City Council for first reading to adopt this via ordinance, so it would have the force of law behind it. And it was at that meeting when a couple of comments were brought up that were very valid comments. Although we had a section in the back of the standards about trails and how to design and build trails, our standard street cross sections did not include a trail on our secondary arterial and residential commercial collector street cross section. So we've added that. So one side of any secondary arterial or commercial collector will have a 10-foot multi-use path on one side. So that has been edited. And then we also added a clarifying note. The width of the street is depicted from a standard of how it's to be constructed, but the dimensions really don't tell the full story in terms of how we would lay out parking aisles and drive aisles. So with secondary arterials, residential and commercial collectors, those are main streets. Those are main people-moving types of streets. they would be built per the standard. It's depicting 19 feet of pavement on either side of the center line, separate from the chairback curb that would be installed. What that is depicting a 11-foot travel lane, and then 7 feet of parking aisle, and then there's another 1.5 foot of parking aisle in the gutter. So that is how those would be built. But that parking aisle, excuse me, I said parking aisle. It's not a parking aisle on our commercial collectors. We typically wouldn't allow parking. What that would be a breakdown aisle for, any cars that might be having mechanical difficulties, or it's an area for traffic to get out of the way of oncoming emergency vehicles. So it's a breakdown / emergency aisle is what that is for. We feel, though, it's not necessarily appropriate that we build 8-foot breakdown and emergency aisles the entire length of the street, because what that does is when there are nobody breaking down when there's not a need to pull over for an emergency vehicle, it makes for a very wide 19 feet of pavement with no parking. It's going to make you feel like you can drive extremely fast down that road. So what we've added to our general notes is just a note that says, for those secondary arterials and residential commercial collectors, that the developer would work with the city to determine which side of the street we would build that extra aisle, that auxiliary aisle, if you will. So it wouldn't be built on both sides of the street, but the detail shows it on both sides. It would just be something that we would work with any developer, or the city would work with them, obviously themselves, if this is a road that the city is building as a city project, to make sure that we have at least one aisle for those emergency situations, but not both. So that is the real change here. We widened the sidewalk on one side to 10 feet and have called it a multi-purpose trail. And then we've also added a note that the emergency access breakdown aisle would be built on one side only as directed by the city.
Any questions for Kevin concerning those changes?
No.
Okay. Would entertain a motion to adopt the the revised Lebanon standards.
I'll make a motion, we approve the revised street standards for the city of Lebanon.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, those are approved. Thank you, Kevin. And then you also have the BF&S William Street Storm Sewer Agreement.
Yes, as I mentioned in my report earlier, we had originally planned on the storm sewer being built on William Street with the reconstruction of the bridge there that the county is doing. Due to some bidding complications, we're not able to do that, so we're taking that portion of the project back. But in order to do that, we need to break out a separate bid package so we can build this summer and get out ahead of the bridge package. Because once the bridge is there, then it would cut off access for us building this storm sewer project. So this actually also includes the relocation of the water main in partnerships with our friends at Lebanon Utilities. This is a design package that would include bidding services for the coordination of that construction package. So that's preparation of plans and contract documents, that's bidding services, and then it's any utility coordination associated with that project. I've also had them write into this compensation for inspecting that work. Again, so this is just for that work that has to be done on William Street to get utilities and storm sewer out of the way for the pending bridge package. The total contract value, fees for engineering, planning, bidding services are $14,500, and then the total fee for construction inspection is $15,000. So we're at $29,500 for those engineering and inspection services related to that work on William Street.
And to just clarify, then we'll bid out the project later, assume this spring, for construction in the summer?
Right.
Okay.
We would bid that out in the next 90 days, so that it would be ready for summer construction.
Okay.
All this work we're not asking for any kind of a funding request at this time, just approval to enter into the contract, subject to legal review and authorization for the mayor to sign. Funding for this would come through stormwater funds and the existing Grant Street bonds for construction.
Any questions for Kevin on that?
What was the first piece, 14,570?
14,500.
Oh, 500.
Yep.
So the total request then?
The total request is 29,500.
But we're not asking financial, just because we're going to,
Yeah.
do we need to mention the financial, Rob, or is it just approve the contract?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay. Any discussion? Any public comment? Okay. At this time, I would entertain a motion to approve the BF&S Williams Street Storm Sewer Agreement pending final legal review and authorizing myself to sign on your behalf.
I'd make a motion that we approve the Williams Street utility project for the storm water and subject to legal review and approval of the mayor.
Okay. We have motions that are second.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, that is approved. All right, that concludes what I have for old business. Anything from the board? Okay, move on to new business. Anything from the board on that? Okay, we'll move on to the claims, and we entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion we approve the claims.
We have a motion to approve the claims. Is there a second? Second. Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Claims are approved. And any announcements, discussion? Okay, would entertain a motion to adjourn then.
So moved.
We have motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, we are adjourned. Our next meeting will be March 23rd at 6:15 PM. Thanks for watching.